Welcome
Good.
to the Daily Whatever. It's Grab Bag Saturday. It is it is holy shit, what a week Saturday. What else should we call this, Lawrence?
I
It
mean, it was supposed to be Lawrence is going to talk about his latest article Saturday, but
right.
yeah, that didn't happen because I fell asleep at like 8:30 last night because holy shit, last week kicked my ass. So
Truly.
yeah, so we're doing grab bag Saturday instead.
We
Cheers.
are.
We change things on the fly. We have the highest production values, and we don't stick to our own published schedule. Welcome.
Welcome. It's okay. I am Googling Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared here. And oh my God, these images. Here, I'll just do like the Google image thing so you can just sort of see the characters. And I think you'll see why my puppet looked like an outtake maybe from Don't Hug Me, I'm
Robin
Scared. But
says you have a strand of hair making an infinity symbol on your chest, but I can't see it because of where the
but
frame is.
oh, I think I see it. Wait a minute. I see it in the big version?
Cute.
Okay. I don't know what that was, but yeah, I brushed curls this morning, which you should never do. Um, you just moved it when you moved your hair. Yep. I was doing that intentionally. I was trying to touch it though, and I could not. But thank you for letting me know that I had something weird going on. There's just gonna be a lot weird going on today, including the fact that my mouse is like, I don't think I'll work.
Uh,
There,
you know what I discovered this morning as I sat down at my desk?
what's that?
One of my cats puked under my desk, right where my feet are supposed to go. So,
Lawrence, are you in my house?
right, you had. Oh my, that's quite a URL that you
Yeah, there's.
posted in the chat. Thank you, Robin.
Thank
The
you,
sock puppets
Robin.
were
Do
so much fun. They were seriously.
do you mean this puppet? She looks just
Wow.
like me.
Blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Yeah, this puppet is letting me know just how my red has faded because, like, my hair doesn't look red at
Right,
all
because when it's
compared
freshly
to this.
done, it matches perfectly.
If I do it with the manic panic stuff at home, it's quite bright, but I haven't done that in a while, and I'm gonna be staying at my mom's in a couple weeks, and she will not abide if I dye her bath basin and pillows and towels red, so I can't manic panic. I've already accepted that my bath like, if you look at my bathtub, it's pink, and that's fine because it's my
Permanently
house.
pink.
It is permanently pink. Thank you for your compliment on the puppets. Like that was, like, very, very funny, and I'm still glowing. I think that the opinionated ogre was thrilled that we showed up as puppets, and as was everyone in the audience. Um, that was very funny. Like, I thought it
It
was
was
very funny.
honestly like a highlight of the week. It made me absolutely insane that I had a work crisis right in the middle of the entire thing, but it still did not diminish the high of being a puppet with the opinionated ogre. And I think absolutely delighting him
Yes.
that we were puppets. So yeah,
We like
that was
to make our guests feel very at home.
right. Very, very welcome. Up to and including becoming puppets.
Yes. So, yeah, today is gonna be a bit of a grab bag. We are being our Gen X multi-hyphenate selves, and acknowledging that sometimes when one takes on as many different roles as we do, that, things fall off, right, Lawrence?
Yeah,
And sometimes it's the thing we're looking forward to most, which I think is
absolutely.
interesting, and
I've got two jobs this week, right? My two jobs are overlapping. The
do you wanna
little
give
one,
even more background, Lawrence? Why do you have 2 jobs?
uh, because I've been unemployed for the last 11 months and finally got not one job, but two jobs at the same time. There's a short one that's going to be over here in a couple of weeks. And that was the one that was just absolutely popping off yesterday and requiring all of my attention. And then a bigger one that lasts for 3 months. So, yeah, like, and on top of that, this week, I had an article idea that I really wanted to write and finish so that we could talk about today, which um,
They still talk about a little, right? Like, maybe it'll help
yeah,
get your creative juices going and get you ready to write.
yeah, it's yeah, you've heard me talk about this idea before, that right, that our generation, my generation of gay men, our generation, the gay men of our generation, I don't know why I'm stuck in that loop saying that over and over again.
Talking about my gay
My gay
generation.
generation.
Yeah,
L-
it's okay.
we lost a lot of our mentors, right? The guys who were, 5, 10, 15 years, 20 years older than us, who, you know, in who would have been the people that we would have met, who would have helped us come out and,
Yeah,
figure out what we like sexually and how to get ready to bottom and all the kind of um, tribal knowledge that gets passed from generation to generation, kind of in queer spaces. Like, a lot of those guys died. A lot of those guys were, sort of perfectly positioned to uh, get infected with HIV, and way before there was any kind of real acknowledgement that it was a pandemic or real effort to try to help. A lot of those men died, including Dieter Murphy, who was the guy that inspired my short story, I Love You, Dieter Murphy. And, and so I was going to write, a fact based story. I am going to write it. I will still write it. I'm in the middle of it. But it's kind of about meeting Dieter and everything that was happening politically and socially at that time, particularly related to AIDS, like the fact that the Reagan administration basically denied that it was a thing, that it was happening. They wouldn't even talk about it. And, um, kind of tracing that, my meeting of him, and sort of the frame that I wanted to put on it was kind of like I knew Dieter for basically 3 years, right? Like the last 3 years of his life. Like, I met him when I went and applied at the bookstore, and by the time we were going off to college, he was gone. And so that's the story. I really wanted to finish it so we could talk about it today, but I literally laid down on my sofa yesterday at 7:30, and by 8 o'clock I was falling asleep, and I was like, I think I have to go to bed. The
right.
sun is still well above the horizon, but I think I need to go to bed. So
Well, I'm
yeah,
glad you got your rest. That will not be a story that's easy to write. So that is
yeah,
why I
it
wanted your
hasn't been so
perspective.
far.
No, I knew Dieter, because I would go visit you at Walden Books. Was he I can't believe I've never really asked you this before, but was he ill when you worked with him? Like, did you know he was sick, and was he visibly ill?
No, so when I first met him, there was kind of no indication that he was sick. I don't know that he was when I first met him. Which kind of speaks to the rapidity of the disease back then. Um, ugh. Towards the end of my time working with him, I do remember, there were days that he had called out sick. There were moments where he was like fighting off a cold. I don't know if I'm making this up in my memory, but I think I remember seeing, a couple of bruises on his arms at some point, and that was, in retrospect, probably Kaposi sarcoma, and I, uh, didn't connect or understand at the time what was going on. So, I think it's possible in the 3 years that I knew him that he, went from being perfectly healthy to dying of AIDS, essentially.
Right? Wow. Do you think I don't remember what the kind of life cycle of going from HIV infected to AIDS to dying was in the late '80s, early '90s.
I
Like,
mean,
is it
in those years, it could be exceptionally fast, right? Like, if you were unlucky and your body responded poorly to it, you really could go from infected to sick to dead in a matter of not a year, like months. It could be months as opposed to years. So
so it's possible, like, one day when you were at work with him, he had just gotten a death sentence, and you
absolutely.
had no idea that you were standing next to him as he
Yeah.
was
I mean,
struggling with this. Oh my god. I always assumed this is me forgetting what things were like back then, that, he had known for years that he was positive and was living with it. It
yeah, no,
somehow
I
changes the story for me if he found out in that time window and you were unawares. Wow.
yeah. I mean, it is. entirely, uh, hey, Brandy Dawn, yes, we are talking about HIV in the 80s and 90s. So I'm writing a story about um, my friendship with the first openly gay man that I knew and kind of contrasting it. The point of today was sort of like during Pride Month, let's remember the people that we lost, who could have still been here, right? Like I'm 55. Dieter was what, probably 10, 15 years older than us. And of course, he would have still been here if he had
Right.
not died of AIDS. Um, so yeah, we're talking about, uh, you know, I should have written that story, but I didn't because I had a hectic week.
Mm.
Um, but
Right?
yeah,
And sometimes when you are as multi-hyphenate as Lawrence and I, and probably a lot of you here at Substack and in our audience are, you realize, like, you can't keep all the balls in the air, so to speak, like, and sometimes it's I don't know how I'm gonna continue this metaphor of balls, but it's the thing you wanted to do the most
right. What I
that
most wanted to do was finish the story, and what I was least able to do this week was work on the story because
yes.
work was blowing up and yada yada.
Yeah, it happens. So we will definitely dive into this in more detail once Lawrence has a story written for us to talk about. But and hopefully we should still be able to get to that during Pride Month. It's only June 7th, right? So we are a-okay on timing, Lawrence. Don't stress
Oh
out
yeah,
too much.
I'll finish the
But
story by next week. This was just sort of on our published schedule. We said we were talking about kind of
yeah,
pouring one out for those that we lost, and yeah, that's not what we're doing today, kids. It's grab bag Saturday instead.
right, right. You know, my mind is going on from this idea that Dieter maybe had the realization um, that he had gotten a death sentence diagnosis while we were working together. And I'm just thinking about, or I'm feeling about what it, how unfair that disease is. That, like, as a woman, you need to be very careful about sex when you're young because you could make a baby. Like, there's an undeniable output that says, put a condom on because if you don't want to, you don't want to be a teen mom or you don't want to have kids. But gay men had nothing like that. So they had literally no reason to be careful in that way. And
Well,
then
and
suddenly all people are dying like the worst way possible, like
right.
unimaginable, like pain,
So
illness, being ostracized, all of it through no fault of their own. Like you just
here's the
had to,
frame that
those
I
men
used
stood
in the
no
story,
chance.
which is think about the COVID pandemic, right? Think
Right.
about those first weeks of the COVID pandemic when people were like, it's airborne, it's not airborne, it is airborne, like it's a blah blah blah. Like that's exactly what it was like at the advent of HIV and
Right.
AIDS awareness. Um, the first name for it was GRID, gay related infectious disease, right, or immune disease.
I vaguely remember that.
People, they absolutely thought it was exclusive to gay men, and they couldn't figure out why. And it like literally there was a moment where they realized, oh, it's this new virus that we've never seen before. And they named it the human immunodeficiency virus. And um, yeah, so like all the confusion, everything that we experienced at the beginning of the COVID pandemic with regards to we don't know what it is, we don't know how to protect ourselves, let's wash our groceries in the kitchen sink when they come home, right? Like that same confusion existed in the 80s, in the early 80s as we were discovering HIV and AIDS, and there was no good guidance. And the fact that it was primarily impacting a minority community that most people did not like
Right.
was, you know, there was a lot less effort put into trying to figure out what it was. Um, so
Yes.
yeah, so and like in fairness, or I don't know, not fairness, that's not the right word, but like just acknowledging sort of the cultural reality of that moment. Um, gay men in the late 70s and early 80s were experiencing a sexual revolution that was, part of the bigger sexual revolution that was
Right.
basically feeling like they were gaining greater acceptance in society
Mhm.
and that they were more liberated and that um, there weren't diseases. I mean, there were normal STIs to worry about, but
They didn't kill you. They
Right. They
were
didn't kill you, and people were
you
having a lot of fucking sex, you know? Like,
yeah.
Edmund White, who passed away this week, a famous gay writer, talked about, there's this quote from him that, every time I think of it, it kind of blows my mind. He was like, I absolutely thought it was a normal part of my writing process that I would finish writing around 2 a.m. and then I would go down to the docks and have sex with 20 men in a truck. So he's
As we
talking
do.
about,
I mean, we all do this, right? But
right, as one does. He's
come on,
talking about
writers.
being a writer, gay writer in New York in the 70s and 80s, and
Um,
like like there was a lot of sex. There was a lot of sex available, and uh, so anyway, that's the article that I am writing. What are you currently working on, Dana? And Brandon's at Kansas City Pride, and we're gonna pull him on in a couple of minutes. So,
Yeah, we're thinking since it's a grab bag Saturday that we're going to talk about what we're writing or not writing, much in my case. And then if folks want to come on and talk about what they're writing or what's going on in their worlds, we could do like 5 minute hello, jump in, meet the community moments. I also want to call out that I love your name. What's going on, Brandy Dawn? That's fun to say. But earlier wrote, that was a gross time, but those activists taught the harm reduction, pride, mental health movements, everything. They have saved so many lives they never knew. Uh, and yes, you are right. And Robin weighed in with, these are such great points. Sex without fear of getting pregnant and comparing it to not knowing how COVID would go. Like I was too young to really wrap my brain around it. Hmm. My, sorry, I'll talk about what I'm writing in a moment, but I do have memories of trying to do timing. So I finished grad school in like the early to mid 90s, and I used to be a speech therapist, weirdly. And did I just lisp when I said that? I think I did. I used to be a speech therapist.
therapist.
Sorry, I shouldn't make fun of lisping. I did though. And, but I worked in the hospitals. I worked with people who'd had strokes and traumatic brain injuries, things like that. And I remember on our unit that they brought in a man who was in full blown, like dying of AIDS to the rehab unit. I don't remember what the incident had been. Maybe he'd had a stroke as part of his picture, but he had no visitors. He'd been like cut off from his family, and uh, nurses were really scared to work with him because I think he was reaching that like everything was blowing out from everywhere, body melting down stage. And there was so much fear around it. That must have been like 93 or 94 maybe. Um, but when it first came out, I mean, we were kids. When like in the early 80s, we were young adult, well, not even young adults, we're teens. So I never thought about what it must have felt like it did at the start of COVID, where you're like, are people breathing this in? Like they didn't know how it was transmitting. And so of
Right.
course nobody, I mean, I'm guessing how one deals with anxiety and stuff like that is like, yeah, you still continue going to the trucks and having sex with 20 men because why would you stop doing what brings you joy when you're worried and you don't know what you're worried about? Wow.
Right. And,
That's
and again, at the beginning, like you just didn't know, like,
mhm.
um, yeah, I remember, there was a period of time where people were like, oh, HIV is in tears. Like you can't touch the tears of a crying gay
Yes.
dude. Right.
There was
And
fear that if you went in this guy's room because he was having such blowouts and whatnot, not to be gross, but
right.
that it could
That it had
be
aerosolized and you could breathe it in.
yes. Yeah. And I think by 93, 94, we probably knew that that wasn't true,
Yeah.
but
I mean, I it's interesting. Like my memory and kind of what I'm finding in research, as I'm writing this story is, like it doesn't always match, which is a really strange thing, because I think by 93, 94, we had a pretty good sense for the mechanisms and how things worked, but that's not what I remember in culture, right? That's not what I
of
remember
course.
experiencing.
Right, because you might be a healthcare worker who knows these things,
Right.
but you're also human. And I remember
Right.
one of the, um the therapist who was working with him was having to, like, change him and help him, and she was like, "I have little kids at home." Like, she was really freaked out about it, and Dana now is like, You're fine. Wear I mean, no, it's not that casual. Wear gloves and suit up, but, like,
Right, and yeah, avoid sticks at all like, avoid needle sticks at all costs, but
yes.
yeah, no,
And
exactly.
then Morgan X is weighing in with, "I was newly sober at 20, dating and terrified. My first boyfriend was at 18." Morgan, X, we're just getting to know you, I think this week, maybe last week a little. Um, I I have been reading that you are a woman, but I don't know that I actually know your gender.
Morgan's a woman,
I thought
yes.
so, okay.
We've chatted.
Yes. I can see
I'm
the
not
tiny
allowed to
little
say that
picture.
she's lovely because she is very self-conscious about her appearance, apparently. She's gorgeous, FYI, everybody.
Okay,
We will never pull her on camera because she absolutely and utterly
got
refuses.
it. Okay.
But she's a smart cookie, and absolutely knows what she's talking about, yeah.
Excuse me.
Gesundheit.
Thank you. Um I did wanna chime in on that of, like, yes, I wasn't newly sober, but I was dating, and we um, straight women were terrified too, because then once the public education came out about it, it was like, "You all might get AIDS," and, I was just Googling, Lawrence, I was trying to remember some of those really early films about AIDS, and I have a few pulled up here, but before I name them, because these are ones about men with AIDS, I do seem to remember there were a bunch starring women who, like, tragically had sex once with some guy and ended up with AIDS, and they were dying. I can't remember the name of the one I'm thinking of, and the actress who was in it, she had dark hair, and she was withering away, and she liked to sing, and at the end as she's dying, she's singing. Like, we came of age with that, where now looking back, I'm like, "Oh, honey, that was very rare."
Right,
It was
that was
the gay men.
it's not like it didn't happen, but it was very
Right.
educated.
But, of course, that's what the movies were about, and so we came of age maybe with this hypervigilance that I think I still hold on to for something that, like, even still now is pretty uncommon. But do you remember, the movie I was trying to remember was Longtime Companion in
Of
1989?
course, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I don't remember much about the film other than it I remember it making me ache at the time, and especially the use of that language that when men would die and their in the obits would talk about their partners, they wouldn't say husband because they couldn't be married or even boyfriend, it was longtime companion
Yeah,
to note their significant other.
right.
But the earliest one, was an early Frost in 1985. Do you remember that one with Aidan Quinn, who I loved from Desperately Seeking Susan? I don't know
Uh,
what had happened to him, he was so handsome.
I I don't know if it's the one I mean, I remember there was one about, like, some mother's son got HIV and died of AIDS, and it was kind of like, "Oh, what a waste," kind of
Yes.
thing,
I
and I
remember
you
him
know
coming home and saying, um, "Mom, Dad, I have AIDS." And they were like, "But you can't have AIDS because that's only affecting gay men." And he was like, "Mom, Dad, I'm gay."
right,
Like, that was the order, or maybe I'm conflating the way it came out, but he had to come out both as gay and as dying of AIDS.
right.
Um, that's all I remember about the movie. I don't remember if they accept him and help him, but I just put a link to it here. It's from 1985. Um, Young attorney Michael Pearson hasn't told his parents about his homosexuality. Now he must tell them he has contracted AIDS at a time when the diagnosis was still a death sentence. That's the summary. Um, Ben Gazzara and Gina Rowlands were in it. I guess that's his parents. Anyhow,
Anyway,
anyway, I can't wait to read your story because I know it's gonna make me cry and think, as many good stories do. Hopefully this next week, but don't put pressure on yourself, Lawrence. You are working 2 jobs, 2 very high stress, demanding, overlapping jobs, and we're podcasting every day or 6
right,
days a week, which is,
right, which
um,
I
we
love.
we love we love, and I've said this before, and I keep saying this, it keeps me from writing. The early wake ups, the creative power it takes into thinking of themes, into making this gorgeous sock puppet. I mean, do you
I
know the
mean,
hours I slaved over this?
Right.
The mo
Truly, it's a work of art.
I mean, you almost can't tell who's who.
I don't know about you, but the Smithsonian has already reached out to me about acquiring this to put in their permanent collection.
God damn it, why do you always get the attention, Lawrence?
I mean,
The Seattle Art Museum for me, not the Smithsonian.
I'm so sorry.
Could you, like, pitch for me? Um,
Next
because a
time,
lot of
yeah, next
people
time I'll pitch for you. Like, they're a pair, Smithsonian. You should take both. And they were like, no.
right, no, thank you, that's not gonna happen. So, I said this at the very start, but most of you weren't here yet, that when I showed this to my youngest, my kids are very talented artists, so I thought they would make fun, but my youngest was like, "It looks like a character from Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared," which if any weigh in the chat if any of you know this TV show. It's something my kids were really into when they were younger that they were absolutely too young to have gotten into online, because it's like a parody of Sesame Street. It's very, very funny, and I just put in a link to just one image instead of the huge image search, and you can see the red yarn guy with the eyeballs. I think that's who they're talking about, that it sort of looks like. The Muppets are pretty lo-fi looking compared to the real Muppets. Anyways, I'm keeping her forever, the museums can't have her. I love little Dana, she's just gonna sit here on my desk. Maybe when
Little
I'm on a
Dana, is that her name?
It is now. What else would it be?
Is it Lil apostrophe Dana?
Yes, Lil
Yeah,
Dana. Okay.
Lil Dana.
Well, you're right, that's better than little. Lil Dana.
Mhm.
Maybe when I'm on a work call and things are getting really stressful, I'm just gonna be like, "Someone else would like to handle this issue."
Right.
How
That's
do
not going to work, Mark. Those
uh,
margins don't make any sense. If you had gotten me the data before last week, I would have been able to accommodate your request.
last week? You mean 10 minutes before this call started,
10 minutes
Lawrence.
before the
Last
meeting. Right.
week.
Totally.
Last
Um,
week.
so Brandon is at Kansas City Pride. Should we
Okay.
pull him
Bring
on
it on.
screen?
Yeah.
Brandon, I hope you're ready.
Ready or not.
We want to see some skin.
Yes. Like sun tanning or sunburning, oily, hot pants, the whole works. Let's do it. Glitter. I want a lot of glitter.
I'm
Oh, you
putting
know what?
links
I
to.
think tomorrow there's a pride thing at the Sunday market near me, or maybe it's next Sunday. I can't remember. Oh, I put that in the chat earlier, but we can never
Oh,
share it
good.
enough times, Lawrence. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see, Damon here saying, in high school, I was in a club run by the school nurse called CAPE, Coalition for AIDS Peer Education, and learned so much on prevention and helping our community. Oh, that's really cool, Damon. Where did you go to high school?
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
amazing.
remember. I don't remember Coral Springs, Florida, offering CAPE. Though I think you're younger than we are, so maybe back when we were in high school, they were like, "We don't talk about Bruno. No, 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 we don't talk about AIDS."
Yeah, yeah. No,
Um,
I don't remember anyone in high school ever
oh, in Seattle, of
in
course.
Seattle.
You're
Okay,
from
that makes
here.
sense.
Yeah, yeah, now it all makes sense. Um, my kids have no idea how lucky they have it that they're growing up here and that you know, their worldview is shaped by our blue bubble. Makes me happy.
Are we waiting for Brandon? Did you
Yeah,
push the
I think.
button?
Oh wait, you set up the chat today, so
Oh
you
shit,
you've
right.
got to invite him.
I have the ability to invite.
Woohoo, production values.
This is how good we are here today, people. I slept
One
13
day,
hours.
Lawrence.
Still
One
haven't.
day. As God is
Here he comes.
gracious.
Oh my god. Mesh shirt and everything, hair product, some midriff
Yes.
showing.
Brandon, look at you. Ooh la
Can you
la,
hear
you
me?
look
We can
amazing.
hear you.
Yes.
Oh,
What's
good.
up, cutie?
So it's actually it started to rain, so I'm kind of standing under a an awning here. But
Oh
the
damn.
parade the parade is already over,
What?
Oh
I
shit.
guess. I
Did we miss
mean,
it?
I don't. Well, I was here. I watched it, but like I don't know if it was just really short or if they cut it short because of the rain or
I
I
don't
don't
think
know.
you can see the chat, Brandon, but everyone's like, ooh la la, look at you. You look hot. and you do. How long was the parade in Seattle? I swear it goes on for like 5 hours. Like
Oh, I
endless.
know. I've been to like the one in St. Louis was really long. They had dancers and balloon brigade and everything, but um, I don't know if it's just because Kansas City is smaller or if they I don't know what the deal is. I've never been to the Kansas City parade, so I don't have anything to compare it to in previous years. But
Mhm.
no, there's still people. I don't know if you can see behind me, but there's still a bunch of people lined up on the street and stuff.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
I don't know if they're planning on doing more and maybe they paused it because of the rain, but right now it seems to be at least halted, if not done.
So when you were texting us earlier and saying the parade is happening now, you were like, seriously, bring me on now.
Well,
It's
yeah, I was like,
it's 5 minutes long.
I was looking down, I could see the end of it. So I was like, it might be over by the time I get on there.
Womp womp.
Oh, but no, no, I was wrong. There's still some people coming, it looks like. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Not intended, but I'm a 12-year-old boy inside, so I'm gonna go coming the bride parade. Sorry, I can't help it. I live with teenagers, so this is my constant reality. This looks
Oh,
very
okay, look at that. Okay, there are more floats. Yay.
Yeah.
okay.
So apparently it wasn't, they just paused it just for, must have been just for the rain or whatever.
Yeah, I love that you're going to be like the Midwest Pride Authority after this Pride season because of this tour. A few comments from the chat. Someone, Morgan X said, maybe this is the MAGA effect. And what's going on? Brandy Dawn said, all parades and events are being abbreviated because corporate sponsors are refusing to give their usual donations this year for fear of the orange dictator. I've been wondering about that. I checked LinkedIn on June 1st and I did not see rainbows. I should look again, but
Yeah, I looked at LinkedIn too. I didn't see any on LinkedIn.
disappointing. Oh, there we go.
The Pride Pony. Or wait, was that the unicorn that everyone's looking for?
Oh yeah, he does have a little horn on him.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Okay, who is this parade? Do they have? It looks like they've got a sign in the front. Okay, I like this resilience. This like walking in the rain thing. It's good. Does my Northwest heart good. Like in Seattle, they just wouldn't stop the parade unless there was thunder, which is very unusual. But like,
I know. I want to be able to read the signs. Who is that, Brandon? Can you see?
Everyone is welcome. It's that sign.
oh, you're getting lots of hearts, Brandon. People in the chat are hearting the parade. It looks
Where's
really
Travis
fun.
Kelce and
She told me song is just like I don't know if you can hear that music or not.
We
we can hear.
It might be a little weird if you didn't.
Oh wow, Randy Don says I heard San Francisco funding is on at a third, and that is San Francisco. That's a. I will say that the big company I work for, there are a bunch of Pride events happening. So it's internally, the affinity groups still exist. So that's good. But we're dancing with you, Brandon. This is awesome.
We're all dancing. Everybody's dancing.
Oh,
I wonder when I'm in Florida next.
starting to rain some more.
There's a Pride event.
Uh-oh. All right. Brandon, go get under shelter. Thank you for joining us. This is so much fun. We're going to go ahead and let you go, Brandon. Go enjoy the parade.
You're on.
All right, I'll be back on at around 3:00 if anybody wants to join me then.
Yeah, we'll tune in at 3. Yeah, get under that cover so your hair stays all fabulous. Good
Thank
luck.
you.
Really
Have fun.
cute.
We're praying for sunshine
Thanks.
for you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Oh my God, that was
Ooh,
so fun.
that was really cute. I loved that. How cute does Brandon look? The earrings and the hair.
Mhm.
I mean, we knew
Yeah,
he was adorable, but, like, that was
right.
next level. Why do I have such a thing for gay men, Lawrence? You know every boy I ever had a crush on in high school and college who was like where I was like, "Why does he not like me?" I now look back and I'm like, "Uh-huh.
Because they were gay.
I can't help it. I like men who know how to take care of themselves and smell
Why
good."
why does that make me think of the Magnetic Fields song, Andrew and Drag?
Yeah, I don't know why, but I do love that song. That was very fun, and that made me think I'm gonna be in South Florida for a week. Although, you know what? Not on a weekend because 'cause I'm flying Saturday, and on Sunday, I'll be driving. So I don't think I'll be able to catch Pride, but it would be very interesting to go to a Pride parade in South Florida, and potentially I might get shot, more likely than here, so,
You should
you
at
know
least go down to Wilton Manors when you're down there and see what the, super gay town of Wilton Manors is doing for Pride Month.
Okay, is that Fort Lauderdale, Wilton Manors? I can't remember where.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not too far from where my dad's, memory care is. Maybe I'll pop in. I was so preview of my life, toward the end of June, I'm gonna be, in the Southeast most of the time in Florida visiting my family, uh, and part of me is like, I've written about my dad so many times that I'm like, maybe he would be very confused, but it would be fun to have it he would know who you were, Lawrence, to bring him on Alive would be interesting, though he would have no concept of what Alive is, and that might be a little bit mean, but I had this vision in my head a couple days ago of him coming on Alive and me trying to explain what it meant and that people were saying hi to him. He would definitely be like, "Larry, is that you?"
Right, he'd be like, "You're an old man now, what happened?"
Right, and you have to be like, "Well, like, 40 years have gone by, Mitch." But, um
"Welcome to the future."
right, or having my mom, like, legit just be on with me, be like, "Here we are, mother-daughter." Yeah, it is a hard situation, Morgan, but he has been a difficult person his whole life, and he's much nicer now that, he has dementia. Which, I think I'm gonna post that story this coming up week because it's almost Father's Day, Lawrence.
Right.
Tomorrow we'll talk about our themes for next week, but we're definitely gonna need to have an episode about fathers, that's for sure. Um, I can talk about what I am not writing that I'm supposed to be writing,
Yes,
but,
tell us, what are you not writing right now? What would you rather
uh,
be doing at this moment? Or not this moment because
you know,
we love our
I
lives, but
right. I need to be writing all of the background Substack work that we never did for Gen XE, the, like, About Us page and the when you become a subscriber, the email that kicks out, like, everything we have is kind of the default text, and we
well,
are not default text kind of people. It's
I
just
mean, aren't we doing that tomorrow? Shouldn't we talk about like
we will talk about it tomorrow, but I have been like, "Oh, if you're not feeling in that creative writing headspace, you could do that functional writing," and I just
totally.
haven't done it, but, no, I'm trying to write I have one story I've written already about, kind of women aging and beauty standards, and that one is about, the choice I made a few months back to start, Botox, which, I did do, and it did make a very big difference, and I'm fine with that. I can find that story and share it. But I'm writing one about weight, and it's sort of my family of origin thoughts around body positivity and also body acknowledgement of like, oh well, when my body is on the slimmer side, how much more desirable I am to men versus when it is on the not slimmer side. And, like most people, it fluctuates and it's fluctuating at a higher rate now because I'm, Gen X, so I'm older. And the things we like, what it means, like what it meant when I was younger, when there was no body positivity movement versus now. Bless you.
Sorry, sorry.
Morgan wrote, "I am on a health and hotness return journey. This is, I finally caved and planned to get work." This is sort of what I did, Morgan, and
Yeah.
this is very funny
Honestly,
'cause
Morgan, if you wanna write a story about it and post it on Gen Xie, like,
yeah,
by all
what is that?
means, it would be a lovely, point.
Here, let me find. I want to find this story and share it here because I think you will like it. You know what I don't like, Lawrence, is that Medium still has higher ranking than Substack, even though everything we do is like 98% of it is on Substack. When I start typing in a URL, if it's on both, it's all the Medium links. And I'm like, no, that's not what I want. I clearly,
I switched.
yeah, this stuff is here. So that's the first part of the story. And originally, these two are going to be together, and the story was going to be called Better Living M dash, or at least looking M dash through needles, because at the same time started Botox and GLP-1s. But the story ended up, the Botox side of the story got big enough that it was too much to work into one. So they're going to be side-by-side stories, but it's been months and I haven't written the second one yet. Um, but when I/all of us probably on this call were coming of age, there was no body positivity movement. And, you know, Kate Moss was a body ideal. And that little wafy look, like that was never going to be me. Even when I was skinny, I had chubby cheeks and big boobs. Like I'm an endomorph. I'm a curvy human, right? Um, I love the millennial driven body positivity movement. The fact that clothing stores now have inclusive sizing, bigger sizes. I think this is wonderful for all humans, that there is more like health. What is that? Health at every size and beauty at every size. And also, one's body is not always beautiful or as beautiful to others, which I cannot control, or always as healthy at other sizes, right? Like some bodies are born to be bigger. Right now, my body's bigger than its healthiest should be.
Yeah.
We're sort of acknowledging the reality of that, and also the reality of like, oh, if I ever want to have sex again one day with someone I like, I probably need to make some changes because that's just how reality works. These are all the themes that will be woven together in this story. And then also the idea of like, oh, my family of origin is my mother, who is crazy beautiful, crazy fit, um, like shakes for hours if she eats half a croissant about how bad she was, um, and like kind of maniacal about food, and like takes extreme joy in restriction. It's more than just guilt about food. It's this like, it's actually part of her personality. Not a day goes by when I'm with her that she doesn't make some statement about, I just want a light meal or small this, or like she sort of glows at the denial of it. It's weird.
Yeah,
And then
that's a little,
like,
I don't want to say pathological, but that
yes,
makes something inside me like kind of curl up and die.
yes. And then yeah, it's a lack of like the sensual pleasure of what food is, which it is one of the ways in which we can enjoy our bodies. Um, and then there on the other side is my father, who is like super morbidly obese and is pathological in the other direction of like, if there's food in front of him, it has always fed his insecurities that he never managed through medicine or therapy or anything his whole life. And now that he has dementia, he won't remember that he has had anything to eat. And so he is constantly wanting to eat. And if you put food in front of him, like before he was like the last time he came out to visit, I'm trying to remember how many years ago that was. It wasn't that long ago. He flew from Florida to California, where my brother and his family were living at the time. And my kids and I flew down. So we all met at my brother's house. He had like someone hand him off at the Florida airport, and my brother met him at the San Francisco airport. But he was able to fly independently, Lawrence, in like 2018, 2019, which is crazy if you know him now because he's wheelchair bound and can't do anything for himself. But he
Yeah.
got there, and my sister-in-law is an amazing cook, and they have a lot of money, and they always have like the very nicest things, right? And um I came downstairs one morning to the kitchen where she was and my dad was, and she was like, "You have to help me get him out of the kitchen. He's already eaten 4 breakfasts." Because anything around him, he's like, "That looks good. Can I try that? That looks good. Can I try that?" And like, he just doesn't remember and will never feel a sense of being sated because
Wow.
it's not coming from his stomach, right? I
Right.
think he's gained like 50 pounds in this memory care where they're supposed to be restricted about meals. But anyways, so those are the two sides of me, right? And when my dad falls out of his bed at memory care, they have to call EMTs, and it takes like 3 or 4 men to get him back in the bed.
Oh shit.
And I'm like, that is half my genetic makeup. So I need to be more mindful. I don't think I will ever be like that. I hope. But I can certainly, you know what my parents look like. I am a hybrid of how my parents look, and hybrid of some of their personality attributes and things that are nothing from either of them. But that's all of those things are being woven into the story, so it is hard to read or hard to write. But now I'm going to read what's in here. I seriously hate how hard it is for me not to snack. I'm fighting that hard lately. Might I suggest GLP-1s? Because they do help a lot. Although it doesn't, for me, it like some people are like, I never wanted to touch a cookie again. And I'm like, that has not happened for me.
So you talking about this is really making me think I could write a companion article to this too, right? Because
Yeah.
growing up as a young gay man in South Florida, the only archetype that I saw for queerness was basically like skinny and blonde, right? Like
Yep.
it was twinks. And so I think about like middle school and high school and college, the amount of like dieting and hair dyeing, hair bleaching that I did to try to live up to that ideal. And not that I was getting any action whatsoever, but I desperately,
Right.
desperately wanted to look attractive. And that I've had a similar journey with GLP-1s where
Yeah.
back in the beginning, before most people knew about them, I found a compounding pharmacy and did it for 9 months and lost 60 pounds. And um, I was absolutely one of those people who was like it changed my relationship with food profoundly and deeply. And you could put ice cream or cookies in front of me when I was on the GLP-1, and I would just be like,
Those are
wow, isn't
pretty.
that interesting? Maybe I would have like a taste of it and be like, oh, that is good. And if I wasn't hungry, I wouldn't eat it. It was the most crazy and amazing thing.
That is remarkable. First of all, I remember seeing you and being like, Lawrence, what's going on here? You look good. Um, which do I know? I don't think I know this. Which GLP? Well, I know it's compounded, but it was a compounded version of which one? Do you not
I
even know?
mean,
You're just like,
n-
I don't know. It was something they got in the back alley and just,
yeah, no, it was a small clinic in Seattle that was offering it before Hims or Row or any of the others like online. And I mean, I think it was the GLP-1 precursor that isn't the patented uh, semaglutide or tirzepatide. Actually, I'm going to take that back. I'm pretty sure it was semaglutide. So, um,
isn't
but yeah, it
isn't that
worked.
the parent name for all of them? They're all semaglutides. I'm not sure.
No, so the Lilly product, Mounjaro and Zepbound is tirzepatide. It's a different
Yes.
tide than semaglutide.
Okay. I love that you're like an authority on this, and I know why you are. Job hunts make for weird expertise sometimes, don't they?
Well, I mean, it wasn't just the job hunt. It was like I was really fucking interested when they were coming out.
Yeah.
And my experience was very much like it changed other parts of my life too. Like
Oh my
there were
God. Go on.
have you experienced that?
Yes. Yeah. For me, I realized this last weekend that I tend to be a pretty social person. So if I'm out, maybe once a week, I'd have a couple drinks or a drink, and it was fine. Um, my life has slowed down a bit, in part because, hello, I podcast at 7 a.m. every day, so I can no longer casually meet a friend for karaoke on Wednesday night without. I just haven't done it, and I'm actually wondering now if emotionally the urge to do it has been taken away by the meds. But what
Yeah.
I learned last weekend was I went out and had a couple of drinks, and then by like 3 in the morning, I was like, oh my God, I feel like awful. Awful, and I was like, "Is it just because I haven't had any in a while and I didn't eat all that much beforehand?" And then I Googled it, and sure enough, it was like, "Oh, it'll really, you shouldn't really drink much. And it has taken away the urge to. Like, I love a nice glass of wine or a nice craft cocktail, every now and then. I've never been super excessive about it, but like, yeah, that's fun. And now I'm like, and I have read that they're starting to see it for helping people who have issues with alcohol. Like alcohol cessation is one of the things that they're researching it for. It,
There are people
I
with
don't feel
smoking and gambling addictions who have reported that they've diminished or ceased the behavior taking semaglutide. Like, it's fucking crazy how impactful it is on addictive behaviors.
right. It's yes. I don't feel it as strongly as some have, and I think maybe it's because I'm on a lower dose and because it's a compounded one because, insurance doesn't cover, um, so it's cheaper, though it's still expensive, but it's a compounded version of Wegovy, how I don't know how it's pronounced. Only seen
Semaglutide.
Yeah, it's a semaglutide, and, um, I know friends who are on Mounjaro who are like, "I only eat 1 meal a day. I have no desire for food practically." And mine hasn't been that dramatic. And at the beginning I was like, this isn't doing anything. But now, what am I, 4.5 months, 5 months in? I've been at the full dose now for a month or two. Um, yeah, I'm like, my jeans are big, and yeah, the scale's gone down some. And it's weird. I actually may be craving sweets equally as much, but less of everything. Like, I'll go out to eat and just be like, okay, I'm good,
Mhm.
where that was not the case before. Um, I still like snacking at night, which I know is bad for your health and certainly for weight loss, but that hasn't gone away. And I know for some people, they're like, why would I do that now? I have no desire to. So, yeah, I don't know. It is all very interesting. And I don't think much is known about long term anything. And from what I've heard, if you want to sustain, you're supposed to stay on them forever. And I'm like, I don't know that I want to do that. There may be some um, sort of like, can self control take over once I'm closer to goal weight? I don't know because
Having been on and then been
yeah,
off, I it, like, if you told me that I needed to be on these for, like, I'm all in. I will be on them for the rest of my life. The levels of health and sort of ease of health that I experienced while I was on it was so great, that I would happily, easily, with no complaints, be on it for the rest of my life. If it meant that I could eat in the way that I was eating and, have the levels of fitness. Like, I said in the chat, as soon as I get health insurance through my job again, I'm going back on them. Absolutely, with the
but
intention of never being off them again, because it literally changed my life for those 9 months that I was on it, and in a very good way that I want to continue.
yeah, it's your health insurance may not matter. I mean, my health insurance doesn't cover it. Unless you're diabetic, it doesn't tend to cover it.
I
So
mean, here's the thing.
yeah.
So tirzepatide has been approved for people with sleep apnea, which I have,
Oh, okay.
and I am pretty sure that I have slipped into diabetes over the course of the last year, not being on the medicine. So,
Okay,
I,
for
like,
diabetes, they'll cover it. Yeah.
I'm literally the person it's designed for, right? Like, we both
Yes.
kind of are. Like, we're middle aged, heavier than we should be, with family histories that are not excellent in terms of diabetes and heart health. Like,
Yeah.
I
No
at least
diabetes in mine, but yeah.
I mean, in my family, like,
Yeah.
I'm literally the person it's fucking designed for. And it's crazy that it's been so hard to get health insurance to cover it, because at this stage they're basically like, nope, nope, you've got to be
Diabetic.
super diabetic before you can get it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So,
I know my doctor was like, "Oh, you should get a referral to this like dietary clinic, and then they may cover it." And I was like, "Cool, I really do want to talk to a dietitian because I would prefer maybe not to be on these forever." And so she referred me, and then I got a letter in the mail saying, "Your request has been denied. We're too busy, and you're we're not worried about you." And I was like, "Thanks, healthcare system."
right.
American healthcare is the best. When you have socialized medicine, you don't get the care you need, or you have to wait a long time, right, Lawrence?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
um, yeah, when they make people are pre-diabetic, da, 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 wait till it's fully developed, right? When they could just stop it from developing. So,
Right.
uh, yes. Very interesting indeed. I didn't plan on talking about this for so long, but this is like fodder for my story and maybe for yours. I literally don't know when I will write it though, because, well, maybe while I'm traveling in a couple weeks. I don't know. We'll see when I have time to sit down and really focus on this one. I have the start of it, and some like anecdote parts, but it's more that I can't get back to that headspace
Mm.
of like where that like magic happens when I'm writing. I don't know. What are you all writing? But we were gonna have people pop on, and it's already 3 minutes till.
Right.
Should we put out a like if anyone wants to pop on camera and talk about what they're writing, the good news they had this week? We were going to talk about that too. But as usual, Lawrence, our conversations, we will never run out of things to talk about. We just dove in
Absolutely true.
other things. Can we give a
Morgan
shout out?
actually made it very clear that she's never, never, never popping on camera.
Never
So
coming on camera. That is
shouldn't
completely
even
fine.
try. And we've got 2 minutes left, so I think it's possibly too late to have people come on camera now.
Yeah. I will say my good news of the week, the thing that's keeping me glowing. Well, there's been a bunch of good news this week, but Taylor Swift owns her music. And that makes me so happy.
That is
They
incredibly good
sold it out
news.
from under her. She wanted to buy it. And that's why I some real like up-leveled a recording of her. Oh, Robin says she'll pop. Robin, you can always pop on for a minute. Invite Robin on. I want to see her cute
All
face.
right, all right. I was like,
Yeah,
could we just end at the top of the hour? Because I gotta pee. But okay, if Robin wants to come on.
Oh, Lawrence, never change. But yeah, she wanted to buy her music all those years ago, and they sold it out from under them. And I saw the recording of her being like, "Well, I'm just going to re-record all of it. Then, if you see a Taylor's version, I own it." And she clearly proved how she owned it. And now she's like, "And I get the originals." She has everything she ever creatively did.
Which is amazing.
Makes me
And
so happy.
yes, it is honestly one of the like high points of this last.
Right? That and the fact that Zelensky like took out the Russian military in a way that nobody.
The other major high point, absolutely. Watching those Russian bombers blow up was possibly one of the greatest things I've ever seen.
And we knew nothing about it, Lawrence.
Yeah, because why would they fucking tell us?
Right, why would they tell us? Yes, but isn't our intelligence supposed to know about things that we're not told about too?
Yes, and
Isn't that what they're paid for?
Robin, what's up?
Not much. Just listen to you guys jibber jabber.
How's
I mean, that's what we're doing, jibber jabbering.
We're totally jibber jabbering. Lawrence, one day, well, we need you to get like hair like Fusins, like a wig. You need to bring on a wig so that we can be the Charlie's Angels. Because like, look at my hair next to we're the bottom two on my screen, and I feel like you just need like we need long dark hair to go alongside.
Yeah, I'll get right on that. As soon as I get paychecks from my jobs, I will go out and buy.
Right. Or you could
I'm going to go out and buy a 70-inch human hair wig.
I'm a master puppeteer. You can see all the shiny glue on top of her head. Robin, what are you working on? What's your next story going to be about?
All right, I'm going to be right back because I really do have to pee. So
pee. I got this. Robin and I are just going to girl talk. Okay, now that he's gone, Robin, forget the story. How's dog park guy? Like we couldn't talk about that in front of Lawrence. I'm teasing. Talk about either topic.
He's good. We're still dating.
Good. I am thrilled to hear that. We haven't heard as much from him. I did want to. This is funny. Side story on that. When you first met him, or when you first started dating him, you wrote about it in like pretty bawdy, hilarious ways on Substack and Medium. How did he react to that? Like to you? There's one story where you have like 55 euphemisms for sex and lady parts, and it's so funny. Did you guys ever talk about it, or were you just like, this is me and doesn't matter what you think?
Yeah, I was pretty much like, this is me. So either, take it or leave it. But
yeah,
before I started writing anything about him, I did clear it with him. I'm like, hey, I was thinking about writing this piece about blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I do it. And he's like, yeah, sure, whatever. I don't think he really cares one way or another. He does read my stuff on a regular basis, not 100% because, he's busy with a job and his dog and everything.
Okay.
but he will text me sometimes in the morning and be like, "That was a weird one."
That's good. Your weird ones tend to be my favorite ones. What are you working on this week? Do you have a story in flight, or tell us what you got?
Yeah, I'm always working on a bunch of them at one time. I've got one about Tinder's new height setting preferences that they're
Ooh.
testing and rolling out.
Ooh,
What
Um,
what are
what's
those?
this?
Yeah, what's the height setting testing?
so on Tinder, they're rolling out a feature for premium users that you can filter or that you can set your height preferences. So, if I want a guy that's a certain height, I can now specify it if I pay them, I think it's like $40 a month.
They didn't
Um,
have that before? I feel like dating apps always had that, and then they took it away and made you pay for it.
at Tinder, no.
Oh.
Bumble, no. Hinge has height preferences, and Grinder has preferences for, I think, everything.
Yeah, the gay apps absolutely have height preferences, like Grinder, Scruff, Growler, Sniffies.
Yeah.
All the gay apps have height things.
Yeah, yeah, and I love where Grinder, where I guess where they when they saw the dating apps come out, they're like, by the mile, I can't go a mile. I want this shit by the foot. I want to know how many
Yeah.
feet away these dudes are from me.
Oh my gosh. So that's weird that that's new on Tinder, at least to me. As someone who has tried dating apps on and off when I've been single now since kind of they started. Like, I mean, I met my ex-husband on a dating app. Like, this goes back a long time ago. When all the features used to be free and they got paid through ads, they always had height preferences. They had body type. I remember you could pick like skinny, normal, fit, curvy, a few extra pounds. Like, all those things used to just be free features. And then when they realized that ad revenue wasn't a viable model and instead it was subscription based, and their goal no longer became to help you find somebody, but to help keep you on the app as long as they could,
Yeah,
they started. I've always seen like, if you want to set your preference for height, you have to pay us. And I was like, I'm not going to do that. Um, but that's so interesting that Tinder's rolling this out as a feature. It feels like, oh, okay, that's. So you're
yeah, yeah. And
coming
so I've
back into
got
what used to be here.
of course, some jokes about it, and then some other funny features that I think it would be funny for them to do. But I'm also
Yeah.
going to compare it to Mike and I. Like, he
Yeah.
considers me like a hobbit, and he's like an avatar. Like, the height difference is pretty funny because I'm 5'6.5", and the half counts because I'm shrinking.
Okay.
And he's 6'4". So like everything he does is just like looking down on me.
As someone who likes tall men, I get that. I'm only 5'4", so I
See,
get that.
see, see, the tall women would call us greedy because,
Yes,
for example, because Mike's 6'4", he gets tall women going after him all the time because there's
right.
not as many super
Of
tall men.
course.
A woman's, 6', 6'2". Yes,
Right.
you could a shorter man, and it happens, but there are men who don't like women being taller than them.
Of course.
It's an issue. Like, I've had two good friends who were 6 foot or over, who were
Yeah.
females, and it can be really difficult for them.
Yes.
So this app could make it challenging for tall women, especially.
Yes. Because they will filter out, you know, uh, the patriarchal, like, man is supposed to protect instinct is very strong. My last boyfriend was very short, and like my height, and lied on the apps I mean, he lied about a few things. We're not gonna get into that right now. But, yeah, it did take a lot of conscious, like, he cannot control his height, um, but it was never my favorite, for many reasons that, again, I'm not gonna get into right now, but I think that's a hard bias that, like, there are men who like really curvy women. There are young men who fetishize older women, like things in women that are considered not as desirable, being older, being heavier. There are always men who like that. It's rare, I think, to find women who are like, I like really short men.
Yeah.
They may like men around their height, but it's rare to find a woman who's like, I want a man who's shorter than me.
Yeah,
Um,
I think the height preference is is largely going to be used by the women more so than the men, um, which I think is gonna leave the door open to other physical attraction preferences. Like, are they going to include weight? You know, P-
Do they not include weight? Oh my
right,
god, that's
right.
crazy. All of these things are on the gay app.
They
yeah,
used to be on the straight apps. I mean, that was the language. I think that was OkCupid of like skinny, normal, fit, a few extra pounds fat. It didn't say
yeah.
fat. I think
It was considered discriminatory, so I think they removed a lot of the physical preferences. Now each app is different, but Tinder's still one of the biggest ones out there, and they didn't have it. Um,
okay.
Hinge, I think, does have a bit more, but Bumble doesn't have the weight or the height settings either. But yeah, Grinder has everything, and I don't even want to ask all of the all of the
But
I
they,
want
rules
to ask Lawrence,
forever.
can you actually filter men by,
yeah. So not on Scruff or Growler, but on Grinder, I'm pretty sure. And
really?
on
You can be
Sniffies,
like, I need 8
absolutely.
inches or more,
Yeah.
and they
No,
filter out.
seriously. Like Sniffies, literally, like there's a little, scroll wheel, and you're like, 7 to 8 inches, 8 to 9, 9 to
Or
10.
you can
Like,
specify by 1 inch ranges.
yeah.
Wow. Wow. So I know how men lie on dating apps about their height. I can only guess how gay men lie about their dick sizes. I mean, like, does anybody tell the truth? I've totally got 11 inches. Like, they must lie, right?
Everybody lies about that. Absolutely. Yeah.
It's
And
almost
then
like
it becomes a battle of like, well, send me a pic. And it's like, oh, not that pic. Send me a pic with like a fucking ruler knife.
a ruler. A
I
ruler.
mean, I'm joking, not joking.
Right.
I mean,
No,
I've definitely seen dudes who say, that it's a particular size, and then you see a picture of it, and you're like, not even on a good day could that be true.
yeah, it's I have had some peeks behind the curtain, not so much with Lawrence. We've never like sat down and compared apps, but years ago when I worked with my other gay best friend, Alan, I'm not going to say where we worked, but it was a company that was dying. And we had the easiest jobs, and we would go be like, we need to book a conference room. We're having a planning meeting. And we would both open the apps and we would compare. And, mine were like straight apps. So it would just sort of be like, he's cute, right? And Alan would be like, look at this guy's dick. And it would just be like picture after picture. And I was like, wow, show me more. Yours is way more interesting than mine. Um, it was really fun.
So
Yeah.
my girlfriends and I, we used to trade unsolicited dick pics like baseball cards.
Uh-huh. Oh my
Like, if
God.
some guy like just sent us a picture out of the blue that we did not want to see,
Yeah.
we'd show our friends like, "Oh, I got another baseball card." We'd show all their
That's
friends. But it was
Nice.
hilarious.
only unsolicited. You couldn't solicit it and then do that. It was only like,
Right.
"Bam, here's my dick pic for absolutely no reason," which happens a lot.
Oh yeah.
You know what's weird? Not to me. Maybe I don't know why. Maybe I just have like prude written all over my face. I don't know, but I'm trying to think. Well, like the dating apps, you can't send photos. Thank God, right? Because if the dating apps allowed when you're using their chat interface to send pictures, like it would just be a flood.
Right.
Um, But once moving I'm trying to think if I've ever been no, I've never had someone unsolicited just, like, you know, drop me a big old one or a small one or anyone really. But if
You heard it here first, folks. Dana
no unsolicited
Dubois
dick
is the
pics.
only woman in America who's never had an
I'm
unsolicited dick
trying to
pic.
think if that's true. I'm going
Oh,
back and I'm like, "No." I've certainly, received my fair share of very vulgar, unwanted messages on apps from men, but they couldn't put pictures in. Yeah, maybe, and then I do have my, like, burner Google Voice number that I use with men I don't know well. So maybe that's why. It's just because I filter it down so much that by the time I'm like, "Okay, we're talking in my regular chat app," it's like a human I know. So
yeah.
I don't know, but the trading card idea is a really good idea, and, I think you should write a story about that. Um,
Well, I kind
are
of
you
did a
working
while
this through?
ago, but it's funny. Like, we wouldn't rank it based on like the dick itself, because none of us really cared. But we
Right.
look at like, did they give a size reference? Was it an accurate size reference? You know, like, did they use like a normal size vodka bottle, or did they use one of those little airplane ones?
Right,
Did
right.
they use
Vodka
you know,
bottles? No way. They really took us side by side?
one of them? Yeah. And then we'd also rank the background. So like, did they
Yes.
bother cleaning up? Did they hide the mess?
Right. Is it over a toilet? Because, oh my God. Look, as a gay dude, I'm going to tell you up front, don't take your fucking dick pic over the toilet. Like, for
Nobody
God's
wants-
sake.
Nobody
You
wants
could
to.
be anywhere. You can pull it out anywhere in your home. It doesn't have to be over the toilet.
Oh my God. Right. Especially a
be a
filthy
little-
one.
Be a little fancy about it. Put some flowers in the background. you
Right,
know.
right. Maybe lay down a tablecloth, right? Like, zhuzh it up a bit. You know what? Make sure that dick looks pretty. Like, put
Go on.
some moisturizing lotion on it or something so that the skin looks really nice. Could you?
Lawrence, I'm really glad we stayed a little over the top of the hour because this is gold.
So Karen wanted to know if the dick shots are fake, and like, not all of them, but certainly they're absolutely fake cock shots. I mean, they're real cocks. They just don't belong to the guy that's sending them. To
Oh my
you.
God. Has that happened to you, Lawrence, where you met some guy on a hookup app and you were
Oh,
like,
for sure.
I
Oh
love
my
that. And then you
God,
get there.
absolutely. Yeah. And
Huh.
I mean, yeah,
Do you
we're
hook
just
up with
like,
them anyway?
no, honestly, like, it's happened to me twice. And in both cases, I was just like, these are not the droids that I'm looking for. Like, no. Like,
Did you really?
yeah. Like,
You got all
like-
naked and you were like, no thanks?
I mean, we didn't need to get all the way naked first. Like, I think you're imagining that there was like a dinner and some candlelight and
No.
flowers or something. And,
No, I figured you show up and you're both, you're just both like drop trow.
yeah, no, yeah, like
immediately.
whip it out. And yeah, like in the first minute, of getting close to it, being like, this is not the cock in the picture. Like, this is, I know some cocks. This is not the same. Like, you can't tell me, oh, it's an old picture. Mm-mm.
Right.
I gotta
It's an old picture.
I gotta read this
shrinking.
comment from What's Going On, Brandy Dawn. My mom used to have her settings on iPhone all open, and in airports she kept getting random dicks on like Apple Share. Some dudes just sending random cocks to every iPhone around them at the airport.
That's amazing. That is amazing.
I'm going to start leaving mine open because I
Yeah,
want to see if that happens.
I need to do that the next time I go to the airport.
Oh my God, I'm crying. That's so. And so then she's like this. Do
Right.
that.
Whose is this one? Whose?
It would be
She holds it up.
amazing.
Whose dick is this?
Right.
Sit up and be like, excuse me.
There's a nursing station over there. We could go there right now.
Oh my God. Or to get like on the microphone when, like one of the unattended areas
Right.
and to just be like, excuse me, SeaTac International, I have a question. Please, everyone look up here. Whose dick is this? You appear to have, you're lost and you ended up on my phone, but I'm kind of curious. Whose is this? I'm just picked in the sitcom. That's what somebody would do.
Absolutely.
Wow. We came a long way in this
Right.
conversation.
We started with HIV and AIDS and the
Right.
story that I was
Very
writing.
sad, solemn.
Pride parades with Brandon. Yeah.
Ozempic, weight loss, and
Right.
now
Yeah,
dick pics.
exactly. GLP-1s and weight loss and appearance and
Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
And the lovely Robin has brought us around to cock shots.
And I've got
Incredible.
another interesting article coming out.
Okay.
That I'm working. Oh, I'm always working on like at least 5 of them. I'm doing an article on gay voice and the science behind gay voice.
Oh, okay.
They've actually really studied it, and gay men especially, they have a much larger range of tones, and there's a few other phonetic elements to it that they're actually speaking much better than the rest of us. So gay men speak a lot better than the rest of us, and we should all learn something.
Okay. Oh,
True.
I'm fascinated.
We're more highly attuned. Actually, I'm not kind of joking. I do think that growing up gay made me hyper observant because I was always looking for or listening for clues that another person might be gay. I mean, I literally
Yeah.
remember being a child and wishing that I had a sense that would allow me to see, like, in like ultraviolet light or something, if somebody else was gay.
Ultraviolet. Oh, wow.
I mean, honestly, in my imagination, it was pink, which was weird because it was sort of before I really understood color associations and things. But yeah,
Okay. I that's amazing. Um, that would be a great story title of like ultraviolet gaydar or something. Like you
mhm.
you longed for the ability to just look and see, but that totally makes sense. But hypervigilance both in looking for others, but what I thought you were going to say was hyper self-vigilance around
Oh, absolutely. No, I
modulating.
mean, that's what it was for, right? It was to absolutely ensure that the pitch of my voice did not fall into what other people classified as gay. Like, it was to, ensure that any mannerism or anything that I didn't give off a gay appearance. And it was by being hyper observant about the people around me, and particularly if someone was identified to me as gay by other people, I would look at what not to do, you know?
Yeah,
Interesting.
and that's another interesting part of the science of gay voice is that it can be modulated. It can be switched off for like code switching. So
Hmm.
when gay men are talking with women,
Sweetie,
they
I do it all the time.
they use more range. They also use more variety of vocabulary. Whereas and this has been scientifically studied. When they speak with straight men, their range changes.
Yeah.
Uh, um,
Here's the
type,
funny thing.
the type of importance put on certain syllables changes. Like it's really really neat.
Absolutely. Here's the
Working,
funny thing, Robin. You're saying this, and I'm like, of course. Like, I know all of this innately. Like, I literally do this every fucking day of my life. This voice that I'm using right now is my normal straight voice. If I was around other queer people, I know my voice is different. Absolutely. I
yeah,
do it
It
on
is.
purpose. Like we all do. It's native. It's just,
yeah, yeah, yes, yes. But something that, of course, you would know, but somebody who isn't, in that world as much, you don't really understand. Like you recognize that, yeah, there can be a gay voice, and not always, but there can be a gay voice, but you don't really think about it. But yet, it's actually a scientific thing. It's really neat to look into.
yeah.
It
Yeah.
is fascinating. And Lawrence, do you feel like code switching is real, but do you feel like your need to hide changed your sort of permanent voice and mannerisms?
Yep.
Like you
Yeah,
would speak
absolutely.
differently without that?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
for sure. I cannot tell you the number of times growing up I practiced pitching my voice lower and eliminating any hint of a lisp in my voice. Like, absolutely, I did that. It was a conscious thing that I did as a child growing up.
So interesting. Like to me, you are um I don't think people look at you and are like, that's a gay man. You
Right.
you
Because I
you
worked on it.
pass. Right. But I'm wondering if you hadn't, even if they would, because your physicality and your voice both are not stereotypic like what people think of when they think of someone gay. They think of someone twinkie more, right? Someone who's like effeminate and, my type of like
Yeah.
skinny
I,
little men with outrageous voices. Do yeah, I'm just wondering how different you would look and appear if you hadn't had that influence.
I mean, I don't know. Well, it's not a thing we can A/B test. I,
It
I
is
know
not
my
a
voice
thing.
would probably be different. I think my voice is naturally like I trained it to be deeper and more resonant, right? Because
Mhm.
that's more manly. And I think I'm trying to do it right now, and I can't. But if I was going to speak in what I think is my natural speaking voice, uh, it is a little higher than this, and it's a little more sibilant.
Yep. I mean, I've certainly heard you do it, and I've heard you also even go like on business calls where or we've worked together in the past too, Lawrence and I have.
No,
So I've
no,
definitely heard
I
what you go.
can pitch it even deeper than this. Right?
Oh, for
There's
sure.
like an authoritative like butch man, don't fuck with me voice that comes out in those situations for sure.
Yes. Yes. We all heard it when you came down on the chat a couple days ago.
Right.
I can hear when your voice deepens, and I've heard you do it like when we practice interviewing. If you're like coaching me through interviewing a job, I've heard you get into your like, well, the data suggests that da 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 da. It comes down. I mean, we all do that to a certain extent, but so interesting to know that.
Robin,
Your
I can't
whole-
wait for this article. I'm so into it
Yeah.
and interested to see what it says. And,
Yeah,
of course, to read whatever you write about it because it's going to be funny as shit. But
it is. Whoa, when did our chat jump to 57 people when Robin came on? I'm kidding. Hi, everybody. I think we were at like 30 something the last time I looked. I'm like, oh, hi. Hi, everyone. Oh, and Kat just joined. Party's here. Hi, Kat.
how
Yeah,
to
I've seen a familiar names coming in. So
Yes. And I was just riveted by this conversation, so I wasn't looking at the chat and folks coming in. This is so fun, Robin. I love our spontaneous conversation here. Yeah. The daily whatever. It's whatever we want to make it, right?
always, everyday grab bag, always fun when we pull people on camera. Oh, do you want to tell Kat what your new article is about, Robin?
Yeah, Kat just asked what's the new article about.
Kat just said, what is your new article about, Robin?
oh well, I've got a bunch, but one of them is gay voice and how gay men especially modulate their voice, and they use larger ranges of tone, and they use like hypersibilant S's that form that like gay lisp, and how they can modulate that depending on who they're with. It's really really neat, and as Lawrence pointed out, it's something that he would do naturally and is thought about all the time, but it's not something that us straighties would necessarily think about so much. But it's really fascinating, the science behind it, and the fact that it actually means they speak better than most of us.
Right. That's why they're so attractive. I mean, I'm sorry, but I like men who are well-spoken. I'll add that to the list, and smell good and know how to take care of themselves, dress themselves. Of course, all my early crushes were gay men. But not Lawrence. I mean, we've always just been friends.
Yes.
That'd be weird. On that note, Lawrence, it's, I think, time to start our days. I can hear, and I've seen one kid going past, and I think the other one's awake too. I should probably go make them some French toast or something.
Yeah, it's 1:30 out here and a beautiful day. So I feel like I should go
Yes.
actually, be in the sunshine on the weekend.
Yes, you should. And, where? Oh, my dog is still sleeping. Amazingly.
Aw, good for
Yeah.
her.
I know. I'm realizing the dog surgery before the weather got really beautiful was not smart, because I'm like, we should go to a park today. And then I'm like, I can't bring her to a park.
Robin, what are you doing for the rest of the day?
I'm not sure. My car's in the shop, so something local.
Oh my God.
Awesome.
Morgan, you are killing me today. I'm cutting and pasting what you just wrote, and I'm going to read. He's an Olympic gold medalist in cunnilinguistics.
I'll take it.
Congratulations. I mean,
Right.
That's brilliant.
it's dead.
I was going to make some joke about how gay voices. Yeah, you know what? Never mind. I'm going to save it. I'm going to save it for Dirty Talk with Wilson and Lawrence.
Yes. There you go. Censoring yourself around the streets again.
I mean,
I'd say go ahead, but we are.
I didn't work out the full something about, when you train your vocal cords to, make way for big dicks, like, of course you get better at being able to pitch your voice in particular ways.
Oh, there. And that
Girls,
note,
handy tip. If you've never tried humming while deep throating a guy, try it out.
like a little vibrator.
Yeah.
I wonder if I should get what you're saying that, or maybe I can just quote you in the article.
No, quote me. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
We're here to help. We are here to help.
Yeah.
And my mom is calling me. It's talk to mom o'clock, but I'll call her right back.
Mom, we were learning how to, hum while giving blowjobs.
Humming head. That has a nice ring to it.
Morgan says her boyfriend is too big for giving it. Sweetie, Come stop by Fort Wayne. We'll go grab a coffee. I'll give you some tips. Never too big. Trust me.
I see a future dirty talk coming up. I'm
Right.
serious. That would be a really popular one.
That would be a good topic. Yeah. Actually, I think Fasoon would be totally into it. So that's probably going to be our next topic.
Yeah, I'd be totally into hearing your advice. So make it so, number one.
Yes, ma'am.
Not that I
All
have to
right,
comment on your
friends.
scenario. You're just my number one.
Aw.
Oh. I think we gotta go.
All right, we gotta go.
gotta
Otherwise,
call my mom.
otherwise Morgan is going to be forced to share some dick pics because she keeps
Right,
talking
right.
about the size of this hog. I want to see that monitor.
Right. These are solicited, so wink, wink.
Right,
nudge,
right.
nudge.
Right. Solicited dick shots. These are solicited dick shots.
Yeah.
All right.
my
On that
gosh.
note,
Thank you, Robin. Thank you,
thanks,
everyone who
Robin.
joined us.
Love
for
you,
this
everybody.
Body chat.
Ready?
Bye.
Love you,
Love you,
mean it.
mean
Bye.
it. Bye.
Mwah.